before we talk about this, the first thing that I want to mention, we are judging the patch based off of the content in the patch. So, for example, we are not going to say 7.3 is shit because this wasn't in it. That is a separate issue. That issue is like a whole other can of worms, okay? That issue just basically goes back to not just this patch, but every single patch in this expansion. It's just been way too fucking long. 4 months is too long in between patches. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even think it's 4 months. I think it's like 4 months and a week or something. I think it's actually longer. But regardless, I want to focus on what they said we were going to get and how good it was. Basically, those issues like, oh, the scheduling and all that shit, that is beyond 7.3. So this right here, the story. You guys tell me I didn't do it. Okay, you guys are saying it's good. Okay, that is the common thing that I hear. I actually haven't heard someone say that it was bad. I've heard people say that it was mid, but way more people have said that the story has actually gotten way better. So then we can say that the story was good. They did a lot of work on the animation camera setting. Oh, well, that's kind of cool, actually. I didn't really think about that. Wook didn't die, so 2 out of 10. Okay, well, how about this then? Good/decent. Based on what you guys are telling me, this is probably the most consistent. Like, basically, very few people are saying it's bad. Okay, the Unreal. I thought it was good. I liked it way better than Suzaku. Was it amazing? No, but I thought it was good. I feel like that this fight is good because of these reasons. One, it's kind of fast, right? It's not very long. It's easy to recover, but also you have to pay attention just enough so that you don't wipe. I would say it leans on the easier side, but it does have a couple punishing mechanics. And I really like all the movement. So I think it's good. I think it's still a good fight. It's even better now that you're level 100. I think it's good. Okay, so now the 24-man. This was a roller coaster fight for me. When we first did it, I absolutely hated it. I thought the 24-man was like the worst 24-man that they've ever released. However, then I did it in a pug, and it completely changed my perspective. That 24-man in a pug is way, way, way better. Pug, it's a pickup group. It's basically you just queue in with randoms. So I have no attachment whatsoever for 11. I don't care about 11. I'm never going to play 11. I don't give a fuck about 11. I have no attachment whatsoever. So all of my opinion is purely based on the fights. Originally, I thought it was a 1 out of 10, but I think I actually like it just as much as the first one. Or more. Now I've kind of glazed it, so now I'm going to shit on it. I think the first fight is a huge, huge letdown. I think that first fight is probably the worst fight that they've had in a 24-man. If it's not the worst, like, okay, I can't think of another worse one right now off the top of my head, but regardless if it's the worst or not, it's definitely one of the worst. It's pretty fucking bad. What's bad about it? One, you don't get to, like, you only get to see one of the summons or some shit every time you go in there. His mechanics are absolute fucking dog shit. It is literally just get on the side of him and then go in, and that's it. That's like literally it. And he does that for like 7 minutes or some shit. It is fucking horrible. What they should have done is just fuck this whole you only summon one per fight. Just make him summon all of the summons. Like there's 4 of them, right? So you just make him summon all of them, give him a script and call it a fucking day. Or if you want to mix it up a little bit, make the summons he spawns random until he summons all 4. So basically the first fight really drags it down. There, in my opinion, I think that there should have been that DPS check way sooner in the fight. You know what's crazy, man, is in like some of the YouTube comments, some people were saying Dunscath was awful. And I actually thought that Dunscath was one of the best raids. I think that Death Gaze is one of the best 24-man bosses they have ever made. I love Death Gaze, and I feel like that those people that said it was trash probably were the ones that were constantly being knocked off of the fucking platform. Like, dude, Death Gaze absolutely fucks people. But anyway, going back to this, right? The first boss is one of the worst bosses they've ever made, so the changes that I would make to it is just very simple. You just have him summon all 4 of the guys. You make the battle more interesting. There's no reason why you have to, there's no reason why the fight is so slow. Let's go to the second one. The second one is on the ships. I actually think that's very cool. I think it's really cool that you go from ship to ship. I think it's interesting. There's not too many fights like it. I don't think it's like the most, innovative fight or anything like that. You have two bosses, they each do different shit. You still have people dying and stuff. I think that it is a slightly above average fight. And the reason why I say slightly above average is because of the way that you fight those two bosses. I think it's kind of cool that you go from ship to ship. That's kind of like a newer thing that they did. I don't think it's like the best thing that they've ever put in the game or anything like that. But I do think that it is kind of cool because you still see people falling off. You still see people, being blown the fuck up, That I will say, right? The mechanics aren't really that interesting. There's nothing really anything new. I mean, those lasers that reflect and shit. But if you want to get technical, Carbuncle kind of did that too. So it's whatever. So the second fight, I would give a 6 out of 10. I would say it's average, but what pushes it over for me personally is I kind of like the environment. I think the environment's kind of cool. So I give it a 6 out of 10. The third fight is actually my favorite. When I first did that fight, I thought it was boring as shit. Then I did it in a pug, and it completely changed my perspective of the fight. I think the third fight can be insanely punishing. The mechanics, I think for the most part, they're pretty average. But what I really like about it is how punishing it is with knocking you off and that stack. That stack does so much damage, surprisingly high for a 24-man. And then the boss will have the 1-2, the wombo. He will face the stack and almost no one notices it. And when that happens, you will have a glorious fucking battlefield full of dead bodies. And the only people that are alive are the tanks. Okay? Because that can happen and because he just knocks you the fuck off of the platform, to me, that is awesome. To me, that makes it my favorite fight in the 24-man. So the first time I did it, I thought it was awful. But then the second time I did it, I thought it was amazing because I did it in Party Finder. And there were so many, we actually wiped on that guy. Okay. We actually wiped on him. And I thought it was so fucking cool. It was very funny, very fun. So I would say that guy's like an 8 out of 10, honestly. I think that third boss is pretty good, man. Now, obviously, if you have super good, super geared players, you're going to have a different experience, but the 24-man is not the target audience of super geared players. You know what I mean? The 24-man is like casual content. The last boss, I liked way better than Shadow Lord. I thought Shadow Lord was actually pretty trash. Now, keep in mind, I have no attachment to 11, but the Shadow Lord's mechanics were really boring. They repeated way too much. I thought the Shadow Lord was dog shit. I think that this final boss was a lot better. I thought the arena was way more interesting. I thought the mechanics were way more interesting. And I think that there's a lot more chances to just die. Shadow Lord, your chance of wiping is like 0%. I've never wiped a Shadow Lord ever, at least from what I can remember. I've never wiped to it, and I've never seen a wipe. I would say that boss is probably a 7 out of 10. I think it's good, but not as good as the third boss. The third boss, like I said, is my favorite. So overall, for me, it was decent. Maybe a 6 out of 10. If you're feeling really generous, a 7. I think anything higher than a 7, I don't really think it was that good. But I do think it was decent. 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. I think it was decent. My very first time, I thought it was trash, a 1 out of 10. I did it in a pug. I had a lot more respect for it. I think that this 24-man would actually be good if the first boss was good. If the first boss was memorable, if the first boss actually did stuff and didn't just stand there for 7 minutes and not do anything, I think that this raid would actually be good. I think it would be a 7 out of 10. Maybe, depending on how good the first boss was, an 8 out of 10. But because of that first boss holds it back from being good. Yeah, I would say this 24-man is decent. The EX trial, I really liked it. I like to prog it. It was really fun. It's fun to farm, and it's also really interesting to see the different strategies you can do with the fucking towers, right? Some of them are really bad. Some of them are really good. But I think it's a good fight, man. Okay, it's not as hard as the previous one. It's not as good as Golbez. I think Golbez is one of the best EXs. I thought this was on par with the first two. I thought this one was just as cool as Everkeep. I really liked it. Yeah, I thought it was right on par with all the other ones, man. I thought it was good. Okay, so maps. I've never really been too big into maps, but I did start doing them actually the other day, and I actually had fun. More or less, they're the same, but just with a different skin, right? Yeah, so for me, I actually had a fun time doing them, but my problem is I wish they would be harder. Now, before people are like, oh my God, he's always wanting something hard. My suggestion to this, you know what? Before we get on to my suggestion, I'm going to say decent/good, because I'm going to try to look at it from two different perspectives, right? My perspective and like other people's perspectives. And a lot of you are saying they're good. And I actually agree with you to a certain extent. But I personally found that after the third map, I started to get really bored. And that wasn't because the map itself. It was just because the content, I didn't really have to apply my brain very much. So for me, it's like this. Decent, good. Now, what would I want out of a map to bump it up to good? We've talked about this before, but I wish that there was a way to make the map harder. I'm not talking about changing the way that maps work. I'm talking about expanding on it. I'm talking about adding on to it. So you have a map. Just add in the game another map. The map that you're going to add is just straight harder than the normal map. So let me be clear here. I don't want the map to be like an ultimate level map. No. I just want the map, some of the bosses, the trash, I want it to be on extreme level difficulty. It's not crazy hard, but it's hard enough to where you have to pay attention. Now, see, I don't even think it should be as hard as Criterion trash. No, I don't think so. I think it should be as hard as like ads in an extreme trial. Take like Siriu. If you kill the ads too fast, you're probably going to insta-wipe, right? Just like little stuff like that. Just make it to where you have to at least think about what you're attacking versus just go in there, spam AoE, watch Netflix on the other monitor. What this will do is this will create a very, very, very intense atmosphere. Think about you're getting really lucky on the maps. You know what I mean? You're hitting all of these like super, super RNG hits. Well, now you have to think to yourself. Now, this is what they call the shakies, okay? Now you're like 3 bosses in and you have to pay attention. And you know if you wipe, you get kicked the fuck out of the map. So you're trying extra hard. It's more important now than ever that you keep your composure, you play well, because you got a lot on the line here, because you don't know the next time you're going to get this perfect RNG, right? I mean, it's not like ridiculously rare, but it is rare. Yeah. So increase risk and reward. Yeah. So basically the harder maps, they wouldn't drop anything different. Okay. They wouldn't drop anything different, but what they would do is drastically increase the chance of better items. Okay. So you have the torch, you have the Yan mount, you have that shit. You put more effort in, you're rewarded better. That just sounds like worse maps. I mean, maybe to you. Maybe you don't actually like engaging with content. Maybe you just want to sit there and hit one button and kill everything. And that's fine. The maps are for you. But for the people that actually want to engage in the content, it would be a lot better. It would be much more interesting. Yeah, maps are chill content. Yeah. I'm suggesting they put something else in there. You can have your chill content. You don't have to do anything that I suggested. If you want to sit there and hit one button and not give a shit, hey man, that's all for you. But what I'm suggesting is not going to hurt anybody at all whatsoever. It is going to actually, it's in line with Square Enix's, I knew you were going to mention WoW. And that's when you're done. I knew right from the first comment. Because the guy I just banned, dude, he's probably one of those absolute trash players. They don't want their content touched. And they don't understand that I'm not trying to mess with their content, but they're salty because I'm suggesting something that could be better. But they don't want it to be better because they know they won't do it. So they don't want it in the game. And it's players like that, it's people like that should just, can you shut the fuck up? Listen to SpongeBob. Why is it always, if someone wants something difficult, why is it always just the cliche excuse, go to WoW? Why is it always that? I never understood that. When I played WoW, I didn't think it was hard. I mean, I did some Mythic Plus, but I didn't think it was necessarily hard. I didn't think it was anything too harder than 14. I mean, yeah, sure, maybe world first rating is hard, but world first rating in 14 is hard. Is doing it in WoW harder? Maybe, probably. I have no idea. But I mean, I didn't really find WoW very hard. When I played WoW, I thought it was just like any other MMO. So I think that there should be a new map. It should be on extreme trial difficulty, and it would be engaging, and it would create this. It would create a very interesting atmosphere where you are pressured, but not pressured too much. You're pressured just enough to, maybe have a little bit of shakies, but not pressured too much to the point that you're like fucking stressing out and shit. You know what I mean? That's what I think about maps. I think maps are decent / good. Okay. I'm just going to say this right now. I am not capping. I thought this dungeon was awesome. I thought this dungeon was awesome. Normally in Final Fantasy XIV, dungeons are they're very samey. If you've done one dungeon, you've done them all. Every now and then Final Fantasy will come out with a decent dungeon boss. Okay, now it doesn't happen very often. It's like getting a reply back on Tinder. It's like someone super liking you for once. It's not that it's a zero possibility. It's just you're more likely to be struck by lightning than it to happen. And the second boss of this dungeon is a fucking 10 out of 10, man. It's one of the best dungeon bosses that they've ever put in the game. I don't really care for dungeon content very much. It's kind of more tedious for me than anything else. I thought this dungeon was awesome. I thought it was very, very, very fucking cool. There's a couple trash packs in it that actually, for whatever reason, they deal I believe they deal percentage-based damage, which I think is really funny because I actually died because I didn't know that. So that was really funny. Basically, any type of dungeon or any type of thing in the game that actually makes me think, I like it. If I just can run in there and just, beat my dick and then everything dies, chances are I'm not going to like it. I think the current dungeon is awesome. This is one of the best dungeons that they put in the game for a long time. I think the first boss was kind of neat. People still die on it. The second boss is the thing that makes this dungeon shine, in my opinion. The second boss is the best dungeon boss in this expansion because it's the only one I remember. And I think that this second boss was actually one of the best dungeon bosses they've ever put in the game. I think it's really good. It's the 1v1 executioner guy. Yeah, it is a very good boss. And they did it very well because even if your party members fuck up, doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you. You can still win. Funny enough to me, this dungeon is the best piece of content that we got of the patch. Like, if you're going to compare, I'm not saying that the dungeon is better than the extreme. Okay, I'm not saying that. I like the extreme better than the dungeon. But let's think about it for a second. If you compare this extreme to a previous extreme, right? Like you compare this extreme to like Beatrix. I think Beatrix is better. But if you compare this dungeon to any other dungeon that came out this entire expansion and even previous expansion, this dungeon, in my opinion, is still superior. So as dungeons go, this was the best piece of content. I can't really speak for the music because I don't normally listen to music in the game. Like, there's really good music in this game. Oh, you know what? Real fast, now that you brought up music, right? The 24-man music was probably one of the most dog shit fucking soundtracks that I've heard in a while. It was so abysmally fucking bad. I would have rather listened to Smile just for the simple fact that at least it would keep me awake. It was very bad. I don't know if that music was supposed to be nostalgic or anything, but Jesus fucking Christ, it was bad. But anyway, dungeon, my opinion, awesome. Okay, quality of life. What type of stuff did we get? Now, let's just go with the obvious. We have chat bubbles. How important is chat bubbles? On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are we that we had chat bubbles? 7, 10, 8, 10. You like them. So far, there's only like a couple people that are below a 5. The plugin is better. Okay. Now. I knew someone was going to say that. We can't base it off of the plugin because it should be obvious that whatever they put in the game, it's not going to be better than the plugin. The chat bubbles are good. You can turn them off. You don't have to have them. Let's check this out. So there is I was not aware of this. Wow. I was not aware of this. This is very good. Yeah, this is really fucking cool. To be honest, I didn't even notice this before. There's been a lot of times where someone's had some really cool glamour and I've been like, what the fuck is this? And I'm sitting here waiting for like 9 years for this to shit when I could just, hit that. Well, here's another really good quality of life. Okay. Let me talk about the cast bar because I have good things to say and I have bad things to say. The idea is good. Okay. The idea is good. However, the execution of it is bad. And it's bad because of another factor, because of an outside issue. Okay. That outside issue is the strict zoom. You need to be able to zoom your camera out more than this. Because when you're fighting bosses and the boss, like you can't even see the top of the boss, having a cast bar up there is completely worthless. Like you can't even see it. Let's say you're fighting a boss. Here, I'll use this tree. We're fighting the Great Wise Tree. Okay, now you're fighting the boss like right here. Now the problem is the top of the boss is all the way up here. Okay, and there's a lot of bosses like this. There's a lot of bosses like this in the game. So the cast bar is like up here, but it sucks because your fucking camera is right here. So the idea of a cast bar is good. The implementation of it is bad, but it's not bad because it's up there. It's bad because you're not able to zoom your camera out. So like, in my opinion, you just need to be able to zoom your camera out far. Now, I'm not talking about, getting in a rocket ship, going to the moon, seeing that view. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this current zoom, you need to be able to zoom out half as much more. So for those of you that don't have a widescreen, for instance, right? Widescreen players, they have an advantage. And I'm not saying this because I'm salty about widescreen players. Trust me. I know Camilla. Okay, trust me. I know Camilla. All right. I don't need to be salty. I got Cammy. Me personally, I don't like widescreen monitors because I don't necessarily need to increase the width of what I need to see. I just need to zoom out a little farther so that I can see like vertical shit. You know what I mean? Now, when you zoom out farther, you naturally are going to expand your view, but the horizontal is not as important to me as the vertical, if that makes sense. I think that the cast bar is okay. To me, it doesn't really change anything. I'm going to be honest because I always look at the enmity list anyway. But I feel like by putting it in the game, it wouldn't really hurt anybody, right? I believe you can even turn it off. And there will be people that it will help. Like I play tank. I'm a dumb melee. Maybe as a range player, you have a lot more opportunities to see it since you're farther away from the boss. And those players will definitely take advantage of that. And that's good. But for me personally, I think it's decent at best. Any other quality of lives? Oh, the display range. I feel like that's decent. Yeah. I don't really think it's a game changer, but I don't think it harms the game. I mean, I guess if you have it, displayed to everything, it can like slow your computer down or some shit, right? The bunny hats, I think, are actually a huge fucking joke. I think that I guess it's good that they put them in the game, but the implementation is comical. Like, it took them how many years to put in the game a fucking hat that your ears just clip out of? It just makes me wonder. It just makes me wonder why it took them so fucking long to do that, man. Like, the hat doesn't even look good. Like when you wear a hat, when you wear a hat and you have these ears sticking out and it just is just very obvious. It's just clipping through. There's no rhyme or reason. They didn't redesign the hat. You know what I mean? They didn't redesign the hat. It's not like it's specific to Vieira. You know what I mean? They literally just took the other hats, put it on a Vieira, and had the ears clipped through. I mean, I think it's okay, but I feel like that I feel like they're very proud of it. When in reality, it's just like, brother, what? This isn't anything special. Like, I would argue that the bangs are better. Like when you wear a hood and now it displays the bangs, I would say that the bangs are better. But I'm not really a glamour person. I don't really care about like Like, I don't really care too much about that type of shit. I mean, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Yeah, hopefully they don't make any more races, man. I really hope they don't make any more races because, dude, oh my God. Can you imagine if we got some fucking like dragon race or something? How fucked up that would be. We wouldn't be able to wear hats on a dragon race or any type of jewelry for like 10 years. So the hats I thought are okay. It's whatever. Oh yeah, the Phoenix Down. The Phoenix Down. I think that is awesome, actually. I think that's really cool. That should have been in the game years ago. I think it's definitely a very good improvement. I think Phoenix Downs are good. I think it's a good idea. Nah. You can't use them in Ultimates. You can't use them in Savage. Use them in 4-man content. Yeah, have a Phoenix Down save us in the new dungeon. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, so no, that was implemented very well. It's also good that they took a useless item in the game and made it useful. So, you know what, man? I think, overall, good. Maybe some people didn't like it. I don't think anybody hated the quality of life. Class balance. I mean, that's kind of what I got from it. Okay, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Okay. So was 7.3 good for the content that we got? Yeah. I think it was. Separate issues. Patch cycle. Way too fucking long. 24-man gear not equal to raid. Not enough content. Need more to compensate for long patch cycles. Bugs being in patch. Needing to be fixed. So, to my knowledge, they fixed this. I'm pretty sure they fixed this already. Now, there's another bug where when you kill the extreme trial, you only get 1 totem. They promised us 2, so that was obviously a fuck up. So, what they're going to do is, apparently, when they fix it, they will be mailing people totems, is what they said. So, for releasing a patch with bugs, they were very fast about fixing them. So, yes, it's obnoxious that it was released. However, they fixed it very fast, so it's forgivable. The bug on here caused probably a handful of groups to like pretty much reset their instance, which is a bummer. So for those groups, it sucks. But I never encountered it, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they released something bugged. Yes, they shouldn't have done it, but I think because they fixed it so fast, in my opinion, they get a pass. There's also gloves that increase your spell speed on a ninja. That's obviously fucking stupid. It's not a text error either or translation error. It actually increases your spell speed based on what people said. But that goes to show that they don't actually care about what goes on. Yeah, okay, here we go. Rogue Ninja Viper, spell speed. Holy shit, let's go. Apparently someone actually did put these on and it did increase their spell speed. This makes me think that they got caught. And they got caught because for many years, I knew that all they did when they put on secondaries is they just fucking threw darts at a dartboard and like, okay, these gloves are going to have direct hit and det. Okay, these gloves are going to have spell speed and direct hit. And they got caught. They fucked up. And their secret is out. And this makes my theory about them doing that correct. Because there is no way that a person that was actually manually inputting these would put spell speed on here. As a matter of fact, spell speed shouldn't even be a fucking category to put on these gloves. You shouldn't even have the option to put on spell speed. Well, it's easy to have a slot with incorrect stats. See, that is where I disagree. I disagree with you. And the reason why I disagree with you is because I think that there should be a better system put in place when you are assigning stats to a piece of gear. I mean, yeah, it's funny, but it's also like kind of sad too. I don't know. Anyway, so bugs being in patch needed to be fixed. This is the biggest issue, man, honestly. This is the biggest issue. The patch cycle, like being just way too fucking long, man. So like overall, was the content in 7.3 good? Yes. I think the content that we got was good. But it's just not enough. It's not enough. The patch cycles are too long. The 24-man gear needs to be raid equivalent. Not enough content. The relic should have been in this patch. The deep dungeon should have been in this patch. There were bugs in the patch. So someone mentioned earlier, for the few things that we did get, because keep in mind, this is supposed to be a major patch, guys. And for the things that we did get, there's still bugs. I'm trying to see it from multiple angles, right? So was 7.3 good by itself? Yes, but the expectation was just the stuff on the left side, okay? They didn't promise any of the other shit, okay? Now, that's where the argument starts to separate into a different one, right? Or the discussion, rather. Here's the question, because I feel like that there's two different discussions here. Was 7.3 good? And should 7.3 have more content? Absolutely. So that's my opinion of the patch. You know what's crazy? This second question here. Should X patch have more content? Absolutely. Every single patch that has ever been released in this game, this has been the answer to, for me. It's just not recent. It's just not now when people are hating the game. This question I've been asking all the way back since A Realm Reborn. It's just for some reason now, people are starting to ask it. Like, motherfucker, I've been asking this question since before you even were fucking playing the game, okay? Every patch that we get in Final Fantasy should be more. I think the biggest problem right now, is the patch cycle. Because if let's say we were back on a normal patch cycle of 3 months, a lot of people think we're not getting as much content in Dawn Trail, and that doesn't make sense to me because we're getting more actually. The problem is that the content cycle, or the patch cycle, is just the extra month and a half is fucking horrible. It really adds up, and it adds up fast. If we were on our normal schedule, we would be getting a good amount of content. So the point is that this content we got in this patch is designed for a 3-month cycle. And even at a 3-month cycle, I think we should get more. But for years, the 0.3 patches, this is normal. You can go back. If you don't believe me, go back. Go back in other expansions. You will see a 0.3 patch. You will see this identical. You will see these identical pieces of content in it. But the problem is back then we were on a 3-month cycle. Now we're on a 4.5. And it's ridiculous that we have to wait a month and a half longer for the same amount of content, all for graphics and cost. The graphics update was not worth it. For the people that are arguing with me that the game sucks, okay, I don't think that the game sucks, but that's not the point, okay? The point is that if you don't like the game, that's fine. Make sure that what you're saying about the game is accurate, okay? So when you say this game doesn't have content, you need to get it right. This game has content. It's the patch cycle that's too long. And the reason why that you need to get it right, that you need to understand, is because we both want the same thing. We want the game to be better. And it's important that you get it right, because if you're going to bitch about it, you need to make sure that Square Enix and other people hear that you complain about the right thing. Because when you say, oh, this game never has any content, that has nothing to do with the actual problem of the patch cycle. Does that make sense? So if you're going to complain, if you're going to bitch, make sure you're bitching about the right thing so that Square Enix will hear it and they will feel bad and they will fix it. Do you understand? It doesn't matter if you agree with me or not. Okay, you can disagree with me all you want. That's fine. But just make sure that when you complain, you're complaining about the right thing. Don't complain that they don't put casual content in the game. They do. You just don't like it. Complain about the quality. Don't complain that they don't put content in the game. They do. It's the patch cycle. Complain about the patch cycle. Do you understand what I'm saying? You understand. You have to complain about the right thing. Okay? This sums up. I've done all the content, or at least all the content that I wanted to. I did the Unreal. I did the 24-man. I did the trial. I did the maps. I did the dungeon. I checked out all the quality of life. The class balance was whatever. It's whatever. Didn't change anything. Yeah, overall 7.3 was good, but should we have got more content in 7.3? Absolutely. And you know what? Let's just add one more, because there we go. We'll add in the final one. Should 7.3 have been released sooner? Absolutely. So anyway, I don't know if you guys agree, if you guys disagree, but this is what I think. You know, was it good? I did think it was good. 7.3 good, yes. Yes. Should 7.3 have more content? Absolutely. Should 7.3 have been released sooner? Absolutely. That's what I think. And racked over.